I was making like 40K my first full year here. I made at least 60,000. This past year that just happened, now I've doubled my income. So I've made almost.
All right, so Miss Liz, thank you for hopping on the call, of course. Before jumping into the insurance industry and becoming an agent, what exactly was it that you were doing? What industry were you in?
I was in the restaurant industry. I was working there for like 8 years in total. And then I was recruited by somebody for like 2 years prior to actually moving out here. And then finally gave it a shot because I just wanted to change. And I haven't looked back since then.
And what made you jump into something like insurance from service? Obviously that's a complete 180 in that regard as you're going in, from a restaurant to an office, from talking to people face to face to making calls. What made you make that change? I know you told me before personally that you had a couple friends out here. Is that what made you make that leap of faith? Just knowing someone else was doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to see that it was working for somebody else that I saw, like especially when they were in middle school and high school, I'm like, okay, this is not a scam. This is a real person. Um, I think anybody's really slow to change, especially moving across the country, but
Mhm.
they made it a lot more comfortable, especially. And it's so funny because as soon as I moved out here, you were probably one of the first people that V introduced me to. She's like, this is Ennku. This is my
Oh,
favorite African friend. You're African, he's African. I was like,
yeah,
okay, I guess so. And
the
then,
connection.
yeah, and then like just from there, like honestly, you actually helped me out with a lot. Like there's a lot of times like my own team wasn't here, and like it'd be like a Saturday, like it's like you were here and like one other person's here, and like if I needed something, like you weren't even like in leadership at that point, but
Mhm.
like the I think the Wi-Fi went down or the portal was down, like I didn't have a paper application, and as soon as like I didn't even realize the Wi-Fi was down, and you zoomed over on like the Segway, and you asked me for my email, you sent me the paper application. I was able to do it like on the fly, like on a Saturday,
Mhm.
just like that. So I mean, it might not take him, but it's okay.
Speaking on the service industry a little bit and shedding some light on um how that all kind of changed. Because for you, how long have you been? It was 2020 or 2021 that you had jumped into the insurance industry.
2021. Yeah.
Okay. And you obviously did that for a little bit. You took a little bit of a break and then came back. Um, just talk a little bit, I guess, more about what your income and how it kind of changed from what you were doing as a server to when you had transitioned to coming back into the insurance industry and having a more solidified team for you, and how that obviously impacted the growth of your income in that matter.
Yeah. I was making like 30 to 40K on average when I was serving or working in the restaurant industry. And
Hmm.
then my first full year here, oh yeah, my first year, it was like June 2021.
Hmm.
I started writing business to the December. I think I made like 40 some K or
Hmm.
45K. And
Hmm.
then the following year when I actually tried to no, there was 2022. I took a break and around the summertime, but I
Hmm.
worked like the first quarter and then the last half of the year. I ended up making like I want to say like 50. I want to say 55, 50 to 70K. I just can't remember off the top of my head how much I made in advances, but I made
Hmm.
at least 60,000.
Right.
Like that I can say out loud. And then this past year that just happened. Now I've doubled my income, so I've made almost 120,000.
Wow.
So that's pretty awesome, and that's just from like the earn advance. So
Right.
I haven't actually counted the advances I made. So it's like if I had to really sit here and say like what I made, like what's been deposited into my account, I'd say like
Mhm.
maybe around 150.
Nice. But obviously, as someone that you were in the service industry, you came into insurance, you took a break, you came back, and slowly had, started to see your income grow at the level that it did. Obviously, a lot of that had to do with just perfect placement. And I know Dave was someone that you work with extensively, and a lot of people have helped you over the course of your time there, and the perseverance that even you had yourself to kind of stick through it. But um, going into that next question, there, I guess, speaking on just myself for this instance, what would you say that I helped you with in those moments the most, if anything?
I would say just simplifying the things that I want for myself. Because
Mhm.
like I feel like anytime people would be like, "Hey Liz, what do you want in life? Like what do you want to do like outside of insurance or whatever?" And like that is such a broad question. I could tell you everything. But I would say that a lot of times whenever I was like really doubting myself, or like let's say like I couldn't, women can be a little bit emotional, okay? That's what we all expected. But like sometimes I'd be a little emotional and I don't know how to react at that moment. So I would come to you
Hmm.
and talk to you because I know that you just give me three words. I'd be like, okay. So I
Makes
remember
sense.
there was a time I was really frustrated about what was it? I don't know. Just going about like my day-to-day life outside of this business. And you told
Hmm.
me you were like, Liz, like, people are either gonna want to join you or not join you. You're the driver of this bus. All right? If someone is at the bus stop and they want to get on the bus, let them get on the bus. If they
Hmm.
want to get off the bus, it's okay. It's kind of like that Mel Robbins theory, like let them. Like, and I never heard that until you said that. And ever since then, I'm telling you, like, I've just made peace with what is and what is not. And so, because of that, I'm able to just kind of let things go a lot easier so that I can focus on my priorities.
And it's much easier to do things that way, than focusing on every little small detail about whether what someone else is thinking or what the perception of what the scope of how someone else might see it is. And at the end of the day, it's just tuning everything out but what matters, and that's, to be honest, just yourself at the end of the day. Um, Last question here, and we'll kind of wrap things up. If people were on the fence about working with me, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that that you're not going to say anything that we don't need to hear. You know what I mean? You keep it
Mhm.
simple, straight to the point. I feel like if someone wants to take if your advice hurts someone's feelings, then it's probably good advice.
Yeah.
But then, because at the end of the day, as long as they actually listen to you, they're gonna look back and be like, you know what? Enku was onto something. I can't be mad
Hmm.
at that guy because at the end of the day, you see things from a different point of view compared to a lot of people, like you and your brother. And it's like you would never say anything out of like malice intent. Like everything you say is very objective, and
Hmm.
so I can never be mad at you for that. If anything, I've always been very grateful for it.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you for your time.